Good evening, everyone. Bruce Rodriguez here. Thanks for coming to watch my live or to watch the playback. Just going to give it a minute for a couple people to come in. If not, I'll get started very soon. So far today, it was, almost 75 degrees, which is really odd for this time of year, but it was nice. All the bees were flying. I do have a couple more colonies getting robbed that failed. So that brings the total of colonies getting robbed, I think, to 6 or 7 getting robbed out, which is more than last year. Last year, I only had about 3 or 4 that got totally cleaned out. So this year, it was a little bit more. But hey, that's just how it goes here. If they can't cut it, if they're failing for mites or whatever, just get them cleaned out, and they can fill up all the other colonies. But let me see. I have a couple of videos queued up to watch. One channel I've never reviewed before. Actually, both channels I've never reviewed before. And just as I was getting ready to go live, another one just came up on my feed. I only got to watch about 2 minutes of it, but it's really bad. So just depending how this goes, depending just how much fun I'm having, how long I can stay awake, I might just get into 3 videos. But let me, as usual, I'll put the link up if anybody has the, what would you call it? Has the desire to get on here. A couple simple ground rules that I never laid out in my last live. But I will remind whoever comes in of those. I don't want to talk about religious stuff. I don't want to talk about politics. Not even in passing. I don't want to talk about just dumb shit that has nothing to do with beekeeping. So we got 4 people in here. Let me just give a quick hello, what's up to Bill over at Bee Friendly Apiary. When am I coming to see you guys in Baltimore? It's really not that far away. I could see going there sometime in the spring, maybe even if this winter isn't that bad, but I don't know. Maybe you guys have a bee meeting or something. I can go down and sit back and watch. Man, why is my hat on so crooked? So if you're in here, just give me a what's up. So let's talk about this first video that I saw. Let's see. Let me see if I can share the screen here. Present, share screen. All right, let's see what it looks like. Okay. This one is by a channel called Inside the Hive TV. You may have heard of it. I forget the guy's name. Let me see. What was his name? I don't know. Who is it? It is, let's read it here. Welcome to Inside the Hive TV YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I don't know the guy's name. I forget. Something. I just don't remember. Oh crap, I just lost the whole thing. All right, no big deal. We'll find it again. Inside the Hive videos. And here's the thing about this channel. Let me pause this real quick. It's not like this video today is some type of change from the normal content this channel is. This is basically a bee scientist. I'm thirsty here. Hold on. I don't know. I haven't watched enough to really understand what the guy does. Some type of doctor, he's got a master's in something. Maybe it's entomology, probably entomology, some type of scientific field. And let me see, as you can see from the channel here, if you look at the thumbnails, it's all the typical kind of, you can see the thumbnails are all very clickbaity, very dramatic, kind of like this kind of milk toast thing that all the channels are doing anymore, especially these top 8 right here. Look at this. They're very, very clickbaity and dramatic. I don't know if in any of these videos from the ones I've seen, I haven't seen the guy actually doing anything with bees. I've seen him go live on another channel where it was all about him, really. It wasn't really much about beekeeping. It was just kind of this kind of braggadocious, really, people are just obsessed with anybody that doesn't really fit the normal dominating beekeeper type. I'll let you think of that however you want to. But this video here is called New Medicine to Help Honeybees to Fight Varroa Mites. So when I click on that clickbaity title, I want to hear what this new medicine is. Not that I care. I'm not helping bees fight varroa mites. I'll never treat my bees. Just want to hear every time he makes a video, it's some kind of new great thing to help save the beekeeping industry. And that's the thing. From everything that I've heard from this channel and this host, it's not really geared toward a backyard beekeeper, a small-time hobbyist who just wants to enjoy themselves. It's seriously geared toward the commercial beekeeping industry. It's all about the industry and just totally irrelevant to a lot of small people, even if you were a treater. But let's play a little bit of this.
You might have heard that honeybees Apis mellifera are in trouble. The main problem is varroa mite. If the beekeepers don't pay attention to the levels of these mites, the results are very clear. Dead honeybee colonies everywhere, which means...
So the language starts out really dramatic and false. What did he say? The bees are in trouble. First of all, no. Honeybees are not in trouble as a species. So he's basically perpetuating this myth, which he should know better. But, it gets the clicks. It gets everybody all worried. It's, as you'll see from this video, he's basically going to be asking for money in a minute. Gets everybody kind of worried and wanting to support saving these bees that aren't really in need of being saved. And as far as dead bees everywhere, we've already been through that many, many times. It depends on your bees. If you have shitty bees that you get from the industry that he so supports, that produces bees that are dependent on you to basically do everything for them. Just have a triage, kind of hospice for bees. If that's what you have to do, then imagine stopping doing that. Of course they're going to die. And these videos, these images are dramatic to anybody who's probably getting into bees.
Means no honey, which means no pollination, which means no fruits and vegetables that I love so much.
So there's another lie. So if people don't treat their bees, that just means there's nothing, and there's no fruit, no vegetables, nothing. Like, there's nothing. And we all know that's also not true. Bees are not the only pollinators. there would probably, if for some dumb reason every single honeybee would die tomorrow, yeah, there would be a definite decrease in a few things, or maybe in many things. But there would not be zero of everything. Almonds would probably take a shit, a few other things. But this myth that honeybees pollinate every single thing that we eat, it's just that. It's a total myth. Think of all the things we eat the most: grain, potatoes, um, tomatoes, onions. Just think of anything. I'm just thinking of my own diet. Um, Honeybees aren't necessary for any of those things. What are they necessary for? Some fruit, almonds. You know, help me out. I might eat 2 almonds every year. Fruit, there's plenty of pollinators that pollinate fruit. Yeah, it's a scare tactic. It's fear mongering. Let's see.
It is a constant battle, making many beekeepers quit beekeeping. With fewer beekeepers, we will have fewer bees, which means less honey, which means less pollination, which means less fruits and vegetables that I love so much. If you knew
So that's twice now. He kind of repeats the same thing. Oh, the beekeepers are quitting. Who's quitting? Some hobbyists that try to pick up some bees. Just totally jack the whole thing, and then give up. Who cares? Who cares if a couple hobbyists or a couple people who get into it for just whatever dumb reason? They want to make a YouTube channel. They want to populate their flow hive, and they just don't. They just can't hack anything. Then they quit. Not only does beekeeping or the bees themselves, they don't need those people. Bees don't need us, period. They don't need me or anybody. But if some hobbyists quit, hey, there's plenty of other hobbies. I've tried a lot of things and quit. Let people quit if they want to. How you doing, Barbara Simmons? What's up? I'm going through a little bit of this Inside the Hive TV. I should have been reviewing a ton of these videos. I probably will do a lot more because this is kind of like a repeating narrative through all these videos. The scare tactics, fear mongering.
Here, my name is Dr. Umberto Boncristiani, and this is Inside the Hive.tv, the show that takes you into the world of bees. If you like bees and want to know more about them, please consider subscribing and also hit the bell button so you don't miss a single video. The situation with varroa mites, which are already bad, is getting worse, because the few solutions we have today, which is a handful of treatments against the mite, are failing. Varroa mites started already to show signs of resistance.
Okay, so it's Humberto Cristiani. That's the Dr. Humberto Cristiani. And he starts off with the same nonsense they all do. Dead varroa mites are a big problem. Look at that picture, though. Look at that picture. And he says that the only solutions are, of course, these treatments that the mites become resistant to. Big surprise. But get a load of that picture right there, though. Yeah, it's clickbait. Total fear mongering. Look at that. I've been messing with bees for like 13 years. I've only ever seen a bee like that right there in this photo. Yeah, me. We'll talk about that then too. But yeah, I'll just talk about that right now. So he posits that the only solution to this varroa mite problem is treatments that of course the mites quickly become resistant to. And I'm assuming his doctorate is in something big, entomology, some type of biological science, and someone with that kind of credentials, even a layperson knows how selection works. The fact that he doesn't offer up selection, breeding from mite tolerant stock, survival stock at a large scale, really shows you what direction he wants to go, which is everlasting dependency on mite treatments to keep bees alive, to keep commercial bees alive, to keep little backyard beekeepers who buy packages, to keep them stocked with shitty bees, completely mite, just helpless bees. Keep the commercial beekeepers stocked. Keep those people stocked with crappy bees, and stay on this treadmill forever. That's what it sounds like to me. So I'll get to this question. I guess when I'm done looking at this video, it's a very short video, and that'll be a little kind of bookmark in between this video and possibly the next video. But wow, get a load of that picture.
To many treatment options we have in the market. I can feel the panic already. What are we going to do to keep the numbers of bees necessary to pollinate all the fruits and vegetables that we love so much? Natural beekeeping cannot even get close to the number of bees that we need.
Okay. So there he goes. Some more shows a guy panicking on the phone, running through Times Square. Whoa, we need bee colonies. Just as doomsday of these bees all dying at the same time. He claims that natural beekeeping cannot even come close to providing the amount of bees necessary. For what? For what? A completely ridiculous agricultural system. I don't know what he thinks natural beekeeping is anyway. There's no such thing as natural beekeeping. To keep bees in boxes isn't a natural thing. I don't claim to be a natural beekeeper. I just don't treat bees. To say treatment-free beekeepers or the practice of treatment-free beekeeping could never provide enough bees, I'll let him have that one. Let's just go with that. What does that have to do with everyday backyard beekeepers? It has nothing to do with that. I don't alter the way that I take care of my backyard chickens because, for Christ's sake, Purdue might not have enough chickens to feed the chicken industry. That's their problem. So I don't get the relevance of what backyard beekeepers can do, or even a little bit bigger scale beekeepers can do. What that has to do with the machine that is almond pollination. It's totally irrelevant. And if big time commercial beekeepers wanted to actually take that route, which they never will because they'll never do that. It's not in their best interest to have great bees that can survive without treatments, because then that's what they're going to end up selling to people. And then that's what those people are going to end up keeping and not needing to buy bees every year. So the way the system works right now is really good for commercial beekeepers. They want to keep it that way. This kind of feigned concern is strange to me.
So defeating varroa mite is mandatory at this point, and we need to focus. But how can we do that? The great majority of the life cycle of the mite is inside the brood cells, meaning that any intervention against the mite will for sure get in contact with bees of many ages and the products of the hives, and of course could very easily hurt the bees in the process. How can we research compounds, natural or not, capable to hurt varroa mite only, leave the bees alone and protected? This is the challenge.
Well, I'll just repeat what I always say. It's easy. You could just get on board with selecting the best possible mite-tolerant survival stock. and stop trying to fix it in a lab. But anybody with any type of knowledge would know that not only do the mites become resistant to the treatments, but the bees become more and more helpless every time, every successful treatment. Every time you successfully treat your bees until they survive, until they are still around in the spring, you now have drastically selected the very best mites and the very worst bees, and that's a bad combination. Um, I'll get to all these. I'll definitely scroll back up and get to these. Um, so yeah, let's see. There's only a couple minutes left in this thing.
Researchers around the world are looking into this, myself included, and I believe some researchers are getting closer to a new solution that I will talk about in a moment. The problem to speed up this kind of research is first, funding, and second, human resources. It's really hard to find people that know bees enough to do a good job.
Yeah, what the hell does that mean? What does that mean? Um, he needs money. He wants this money. It's funny to me that researchers with a relatively, you know, limitless amount of money compared to somebody like me, um, could spend top dollar to get some of the just best queens ever, and really invest in a lot of feral, queens and great genetics and do great studies with selection, and they're just trying to raise a ton of money to come up with more unnatural treatments just to keep this system going. And the part about it's hard to find good beekeepers who actually know what they're doing. He just like slapped so many of these YouTube beekeepers in the face. Like, you guys don't know what you're doing. And he's your friend. He's even been on your lives, and he's telling you you don't know what you're doing. I don't know. I've yet to see the guy mess with bees. I have to look through his videos.
The beekeeping industry is not that big as other industries capable to attract big investments, and most of the time, non-profit organizations need to jump in and work hard to help the industry. This brings me to the sponsor of this video, Project Apis M. Project Apis M, better known as PAM, is the go-to organization at the interface of research, honeybees, and agriculture. Since 2006, they have infused over $10 million into honeybee research and $2.9 million into forage programs. If you want to help me,
Yeah, so there's the main uh, idea of this video. First of all, the title, "New Medicine to Help Honeybees Fight Varroa Mites," it's a clickbait title. There's nowhere in this video he's presenting a new medicine that helps honeybees to fight varroa mites. It's total clickbait. You can see from his clips, this is wholly and completely to try to solve problems for commercial beekeepers that are the reason for this whole situation. It's just greed started this whole thing. These totally helpless bees that people buy from these commercial beekeepers, and then have to and then the audacity to ask for just regular old people to donate money so that they can raise money so they can produce more stuff to keep the beekeeping industry afloat. Which what are the problems? There's millions and millions of bee colonies. Like, what's the problem? They make tons of money. There's a shit ton of money they get from taking them bees out there. Why don't they donate the money? Yeah, it's definitely fishing. This is fishing right here. Clickbait title. I don't know, maybe I missed it. I watched it one time. Let's see. Maybe he does present some new medicine to help honeybees with varroa mites. Let's see.
me making more videos here on YouTube to everybody, please consider supporting Project Apis M with a small donation. To know more about Project APIS-M, please visit projectapism.org, one of PEM's funded projects, a collaboration between Dr. Steve Pernal, a research scientist at Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, a government institution, and Dr. Erica Pletner, a chemist from Simon Fraser University, got my attention recently. They are screening different compounds against varroa mites, and apparently 2 compounds start to show some interesting results already. The compounds 3C36 and 3C66 started to show some effects against varroa mites replication, and this is very exciting. I know the name is terrible, but I have hope they're gonna change this soon and make my life much easier to say those names. 3636.
All right, so we're injecting a little bit of comedy in there. Haha. 363C, whatever the hell it is. You got a chemist, and an agricultural researcher. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? He's probably used to dealing with cattle and sheep, chickens and shit. Now he's messing with bees. And what did he say? They have some chemicals that are going to have some reaction to the mites. Yeah, just like all of them do. Like, what's new here? We've seen all this. I'm still waiting for the name of it. Oh, maybe that's what he means. This new medicine is called 363C. It's not like it's available,
3C. See, it's a mess. You have to change that. After investigating the information I got, I have to say I have more questions than answers, and I have to go to the bottom of this. I invited Dr. Pernal and Dr. Pletner for a live stream on my channel, and of course, all you guys at home are welcome to join us for this debate about the project. The live stream, as always, is free to everybody and is scheduled for December 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Please sign up for the event clicking in the link in the description of this video so you can receive more information about the event and be notified in case things change. I'm looking forward to see everybody there. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there you have it. It's a live stream. You don't really have to register for live streams. You can just hit the reminder, really. I don't know, or get a notification if you're subscribed. Just go. Maybe you have to register so that they have your email, they have your phone number. Probably, I don't know, maybe they would ask you for something. But Barbara Simmons had a couple good questions here. Barbara Simmons always has the best comments, and it's just comebacks when I have like trolls in here. But okay. So the first thing Barb asks is, do you know someone who could discuss selection and be improvement? And it's a good question. So, well, selection I go over all the time on here. Selection's one of the most simple processes in nature. It's impossible to really escape selection. You're either going to live or you're going to die. And the more things that you live through, and the more things that die without going through as much, your genetics ideally proliferate in all. That goes through all animals, all plants, all living things, and even some non-living things. So with bees, the thing about bees is, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, the varroa mite is an exotic, new thing honeybees have never dealt with before, so we can't expect to be able to select for survival." But the funny thing is, honeybees were brought here in, I believe, the 1600s. However, they probably got here on a boat. I'm sure they didn't fly them here, but they were brought here onto a continent where they've never been. every single plant and every single living thing they came in contact with, every single bacteria, every possible predator, they never, they could have never been in contact with before. And they thrived. And maybe in recent times, like for example, the past 30, 40 years, we would notice something like a varroa mite, or hive beetles or tracheal mites. Imagine if tracheal mites were here in the 1700s or the 1600s. No one would have ever noticed them. So we do notice those things here. And bees have been self-selected through a lot of different things that we probably don't even know about. So it's not really a matter of improving the bees. The bees have all the genetics that they'll have, barring any future minor mutations. They already have them. They've been deselected by all this bathing for such a long time. Let's see. So you can't really improve bees. What you can do is weed out the ones that have lost the ability to defend themselves and to groom themselves and to do whatever it takes to survive different parasites. The picture that was shown earlier, I've never seen a bee like that in my life. That bee looked like it went through a damn blender. It could have been a mite on the eyeball. Do I find that my chickens are helpful with scratching up small hive beetles? I can't say yes to that because my chickens don't really hang around the bees too much. They'll kind of walk in between the hives and just pick at the grass and maybe eat some bugs there. But they definitely don't scratch up small hive beetles. They do scratch up a lot of ants. They eat a lot of grasshoppers and things. I've never seen them scratching up small hive beetles. Maybe they do. I don't know. Because I have so much grass that if a small hive beetle larvae was to somehow get out of one of my hives and get to the ground, they're just going to be in a big pile of grass, which I'm sure they have no problem getting through the grass, getting to the ground. I never worry about small hive beetles. You can see from my old video, my hive beetle bomb, I had thousands and thousands of hive beetles in a colony in the fall, and I closed them up for winter, and they survived. They became many colonies. They're going into winter again. I never worry about small hive beetles. Let's see, I just got a flood of comments here, which is cool. Let me just see. How about swarmy bees? Some people say you should never use a queen cell for reproduction because it's breeding for swarminess. That's one thing that has cracked me up for quite a long time. They'll say, don't catch swarms because swarms are swarmy. And it's funny when you really think about it. That's how bees reproduce. I don't see how on earth you can affect, let's say if swarminess was genetic, it could be. Each unmated queen that you produce mates with, of course, dozens of drones. So for swarminess to last very long sounds so silly. Plus, that's what they do. And I think that if you have a colony that you just don't allow to swarm, like you keep expanding it, you keep doing things to keep it from swarming, that's not changing the genetics of those bees. They would still swarm no matter what. Any genetic line of bees that has somehow had its swarming tendency removed would die out. They'd be done. If you use the word swarming as just reproducing, it's like saying don't get dogs that have puppies because those puppies are going to have puppies. Yeah, that's what they do. It's kind of a weird it's something that like maybe newer beekeepers like to kind of use the lingo and the terminology, and they'll say things like swarmy this or that. I've had bees that seem to swarm and some that don't. I don't know. I just don't. I've never had bees that I would consider swarmy. They're all gonna swarm. It's a tough question, but that's kind of just my answer. I think swarminess is kind of a funny thing to try to fight. Um, this mess is called the Swarmstead Bees and Gardening channel, and the other mess is me, Bruce Rodriguez. What's up, Tim? Let's see what Baroque beekeeping. You can't breed for swarming. Our predecessors tried to breed swarming out of honeybees in the 1930s unsuccessfully. I don't know. I don't know about that. About that statement. You know, I don't know how would you breed. How would you even select for that? Like, you would have to let a colony get crowded, and then they would just not swarm, and then you would say to yourself, I like that line of bees. How can I propagate them? And then you kind of have to put them into a swarming situation so you could get cells, which would mean you'd have to graft it, put it into a crowded colony, so they would make queen cells, which they're going to do to swarm. So yeah, it's strange. It doesn't make sense to me to breed either way, either for swarminess or against swarminess. Another thing to keep in mind is let's just say swarminess was a real thing. Let's say there was a colony in a tree, nobody's messing with it, and it happens to have these extremely swarmy genetics. It would swarm itself to death, and then it wouldn't exist anymore. So it would swarm many times. Those swarms would themselves be swarmy. They would never build up enough to survive a winter, and then they'd wipe themselves out. So I think that's kind of the best way to think of it. I think it's just not a thing. Howdy to Tim. Everybody say what's up to Tim. Swarming is a bee's method of reproduction. Yep. If you have chickens near your bees, you're not a treater. So let's see. I like these beekeeping questions. I never really like being that guy that answers beekeeping questions, but I'll do the best I can. If a virgin queen hatches late fall and doesn't have drones to mate, will it live in the colony and mate the following spring? That I can pretty confidently say no, because they just don't have, the window just isn't that big. I've had many unmated queens that I've either made splits with or introduced them into a queenless colony, and there's been a long period of rain or bad weather or whatever, and they end up never getting mated, and that's in the spring and summertime, because after a period there is good weather and it's sunny and everything's great and everything's coming in, there's a ton of bees in there, but the queen remains a tiny little stub of a bee. So based on that, I would say that let's say you had an unmated queen flying or being produced right now for some reason. No, I don't think it would sit there until April and then somehow be able to fly. I think it's just their reproductive window closes. Let's see. 11 people in here. Let me see. Did I miss anything? All right. Another video that I saw earlier today. I know I'm going to get a ton of shit for it too. Let me just quickly see if people are. Sometimes people try to message me on my phone because I don't want to talk in here. But that's not what's happening. Okay. I kind of hesitate to even bring up this channel because it's a channel that I watch, I'm subscribed to. I generally like the person. I don't have any reason to dislike the person, but he did give a good example of the kind of double talk kind of that beekeepers do a lot on these YouTube channels. It's like, let me just type it in here. Kind of like these channels, these beekeepers, they'll make a channel, they'll make a video about whatever treating for varroa mites, and I gotta tell you, I love it when they say, "I'm not trying to argue with treatment-free beekeepers," because it's almost like they know it's coming. Like we're not really hiding anymore. I did not notice, Jason, if you had a treater video. Maybe I gotta check. But so they'll say things like that, like, and I got no problem. Like I subscribe to so many channels, and a lot of them are treaters, but they're otherwise good people. So I'll watch their videos. Leave a comment, give a thumbs up, say what's up. I don't try to fight with people. Not all the time. I'll only I'll only throw my cape on and want to fight when they kind of go out of line and say something like I've done many times. Oh, by the way, let me see. I'll put the invite link up there again in case anybody wants to come on. Let's just keep it. Let's keep it. If somebody comes on, let's keep it like relevant. So another channel that I follow, I should have tagged them. It's called Bohemia Bees, and I watch all of Jason's videos. Well, not all of them, but good most of them. They're all good. Been following them for quite a while. Back before I don't know, this weird tide turn in beekeeping channels happened where they're all kind of grouped up together. And kind of all do the same thing. But there was a video that I watched today, and I was almost through the whole thing. I swear to God, I was almost all the way through the whole thing. And here's the thing. If I watch a video, let's say they're treating with an oxalic acid vaporizer or whatever. It doesn't matter what they're doing. I'll watch the video. I probably won't say anything unless there's something to talk about otherwise in the video. Like, hey, I like that car or whatever. I'm not necessarily going to like the video because I don't want to promote or help the algorithm with something that I detest, which is the idea that treating bees is superior. But I won't hate the person. So this video here, let me see if I can share it. Oh, is that it? What the heck is that? Oh, okay. Sorry, I got a bug in my face. Let's see. There was one. It's called. First, let me go to show you the thumbnail, just to show you that all these videos anymore, all these channels, they're all doing the same thing. They're all doing the this kind of dramatic clickbait. There you can see top of the screen. It's not as dramatic as the video we just watched, but it's got all the whistles. It's got the big stop sign. Stop the Varroa Destructor. The Varroa Destructor got the scary mask on. I mean, that's what you guys wear. A lot of people wear, like, I don't know. It's just totally normal. I couldn't imagine wearing it, but that's beside the point. We're not going to watch the whole video. I'm only going to watch the part that I thought was kind of got to me. Let me go to the comments because I did leave a comment just to show that I don't just talk the shit. I actually say the shit in the comments. So at some point in this video, he says, well, we're not going to debate treatment free, treatment nothing. And I comment here, we're not going to debate, and then I put a timestamp, proceeds to insult treatment free beekeepers everywhere with the same tired assertions. So let me go to that timestamp.
And you better have a plan, or your mites may be creating a mite bomb for your neighbor that may.
Let me just back that up a little bit. Where are we? 1649. We'll go to 1645. All right, can we see this? Can we see it? Like I said, I'm not going to throw a ton of shade on Jason here. I do like the guy. I like the channel. I'm not trying to fight this dude, but I'll just show. This is kind of the thing that we hear all the time, where he goes, hey, it's okay, you know, you can just do your thing. I'll do my thing. We don't treat. We treat here. Okay, cool. I was just like, look at how much time is left in the video. Like 45 seconds. It was almost over. But then this happens here.
And you better have a plan, or your mites may be creating a mite bomb for your neighbor that may have beehives within a 3 to 5 mile radius of you when the bees are out foraging. So you want to be a good steward of your apiary so that you're not impacting someone else's apiary.
Oh, so see what I mean? It's like little slights upon slights. You know, out of the one side, you know, I don't want to debate it, but then says implying you're not a good steward of bees if you're a treatment-free beekeeper. Tells you basically within 3 to 5 miles you're affecting all those colonies. You're possibly killing people's bees. Those are strong things to say for someone who's never been a treatment-free beekeeper. Cannot support any of those things. You know, I have a backyard with 50 colonies now, and I have colonies that are crashing and dying. I don't know if they're all because of mite failure. Some of them I just haven't been in a long time. They could have been queenless. I'll just assume they were mite failures. Let's just assume their mite levels got up to 100 per 300 and they're crashing from mites, and they're clearly getting robbed by my other bees. The thing is, this is not the first year this has happened. I've been doing this here in this location since 2017, and before that in other places. And I don't have what he's talking about. So if my crashed colonies that are getting robbed are not killing my other colonies, to say that I got to worry about beekeepers 3 to 5 miles away. So for that reason, I need to just toe the line like him and like everybody else. No, you do your thing and I'll do my thing. And let's just say what he says is true, because that's my favorite way to deal with someone kind of saying something opposing to me. Let's say that it is true that my mite-filled colonies do cause other bees around them to crash. Well, there is still part of selection. They need the bees that survive. My bees that survive are going to have survived this mite bombing theory that he just copied and pasted right off of Randy Oliver's website. And also, just like all the other beekeepers on YouTube who say this exact same trope, they never consider the feral colonies in their area. All in these trees and forests and dilapidated buildings. They only care about the ones that aren't being treated in people's hives, which is probably a small percentage. It's us non-treating beekeepers are not the majority. Yet a lot of people's bees are still dying. So you're really just blaming a small group of people just to kind of say the exact same thing everybody else is saying. But that was just an example from this channel. It's not really against Jason. They all say this, and they all sound like broken records. I'm not sure if there's anything else on here.
With that, I'd like to wrap up the video. Again, this is part 2. We have a link in the description below or within the cards in the top.
Oh, yeah. And also, what wasn't shown in that little clip is that he's selling vaporizers. You know, when you're selling vaporizers from your website, you're making money with this crappy system of keeping bees alive forever, you know, keeping them alive when they really have no capability of doing it themselves. That's how you got to be. You got to scare people into using these treatment vessels. So let's see. Oh, hold on. Let me just check a couple of these comments here. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we're probably a small segment of the subscribers, but yeah, it's kind of like a lot of these channels. They just kind of, you can tell they've been in the corporate world for a long time because they know how to talk about both sides of everything, and they have this kind of weird middle ground way of talking about everything. They can talk for a long time without actually saying anything, and it's kind of funny. Like, boycott Halloween because kids trick or treat. That's pretty funny. I should be like, this is a non-treating household. Just give them all tricks, whatever that is. So what I didn't mention that was in the video, there's this really big kind of plastic mite. It's like the size of your hand. That I think I saw it on other channels too, but he uses it to kind of hold it up against your body and really give you that feeling of a mite on a bee. Big scary looking mite. Yeah. So those are the two videos I was looking at. Was there any other questions at all here? Man, I have this tiny little gnat. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but it's really trying to fly directly into my eyeball. I'm trying to get it. Well, we could. I mean, I have a packed house today. I have 13 people in here right now. I have my emotional support beer here. Oh yeah, the peppermint. So that's it. Thank goodness you brought that up. There was another video on the same channel right before that one where they were fighting the hive beetles and took an absolute metric ton of peppermint candy powder to put on pollen patties to put into hives as an experiment. But usually if I experiment on something, I do it maybe with one or two. I wouldn't do it on every single one. It appeared that he did it on every single one. So that should be interesting to see how that turns out. To put, something so mellifluous, something odorous into a hive in November. Here, your bees would get absolutely slaughtered if you put that in a hive. I wouldn't try doing it. We could watch another video. We could watch that new one that just came up on my feed from Bee Fit Beekeeping. Just from the comments, it looks like a terrible video. Just an absolute, not that the video is terrible. I'm sure the editing is great, but what is done on the video by the comments seems to be terrible. This beekeeper who doesn't have a ton of experience has one of these kind of how-to everything channels. Very, very strange kind of to watch, and she is vaporizing her colonies with no protective gear on in the rain with electrical stuff. I don't know. That would seem like a bad thing to do to me. in my opinion, to have either batteries or any type of wiring going in the rain. um, and then to be dealing with something as toxic as oxalic acid vapors with no no protective gear on. Something you've never even used before. For the video, she's never used it before. Decided to film it and then post it. Just terrible. Let's watch it. Let me pull it up. Let me see if I can. Oh shit! Did I get rid of YouTube? All right, let me pull YouTube back up. Where is it? Oh, it's right there. Let me. Hold on. Let me stop this. Share. That's a good point there. That's a good point there. People wear a mask, but no, I mean, even though, let me see. First, let me put it up. The question is, why do you need a mask? It's safe for the bees. And even though you're being sarcastic, that's actually a good question. Bees are not some special magical super organism. They have little spiracles and little lungs, and they breathe things, and they have mouth parts and eyes and very sensitive glands and everything. So the idea of pumping vapors onto an insect, I mean, maybe it's different because our lungs are definitely different, and apparently it hurts us much more. I'll never have to worry about that. I'm never going to touch wood bleach. I'm never going to heat it to 400 degrees and stick it in some bees that are really free, that are so easily replaceable, and that often don't even need to be replaced. So I don't know, but it is a good question. You do need a mask, but what's the thought behind absolutely gassing your bees out with something so toxic? I don't know. That's one for the. It's just a weird thought. So I don't know if I want to watch this whole video. It's kind of more like a vlog, not really. It's just different, man. It's different. Oh, so let me start by saying a few videos ago, this lady talked about how next season, she was going treatment free, which, oh my God, I don't know how she's going to do it. She's having a really hard time with the treating part, having just a really hard time with just the beekeeping part. Buys a ton of bees. I don't know if she did any swarm removal. Already teaching classes, I saw on the community post, like giving actual beekeeping 101 classes. I don't know. This is her third season, maybe second winter. I don't really know. A lot of beekeepers kind of are fuzzy about how long they've been messing with bees. You know, if you order bees in December 31st, I think by New Year's you've been a beekeeper for a year, because you went from one year to the next. And then you can, on the next New Year's Day, say you've had bees for 3 years, because you've had them from, say, 2019, 20, and 21. But I don't know. So I'll skip through a little bit of this, see how it goes. Let me make it big here.
Full of changes. I pretty much had to restart my life and move my entire apiary to a new location just as the leaves were beginning to fall. This is not the ideal time to move, as it is crucial that each hive doesn't lose any of their bees so that they are prepared for winter. So as I went through each colony to ensure that all queens were intact after the move, I also tested for mites. In doing this, I realized that my mite load was through the roof. Even
Okay. So maybe you can get a little taste of kind of the cadence and the tone of this channel. You know, really worrying about them mites, really bad. I mean, they're a bunch of bought bees. The mites are bad, but these bees, I swear, I'm kind of, if you watch the channel, you'll see that these bees have been put through so much. A lot of really just not the best beekeeping, and somehow some are still alive. I've made comments before, got very little, if any, replies or anything. Did you see in the background? It was no. Let me skip a little bit. Oh, okay, so here you can see all the treatments.
After treating with Formic at the end of July and also treating with Apivar in August. So now the question is, will I be able to get my mite count down in time for the bees to be strong enough for winter? Let's hope, but stick around and you'll find out.
Yeah, so to me it's kind of like a really long TikTok video. Let me just scoot ahead a little bit. I'm not sure. Okay, so here she's showing off the new vaporizer.
All of the high mite numbers that I have right now. This is a homemade version of the Pro Vape vaporizer that one of you guys that follows the channel made. It is.
Oh, so see, I didn't know that little tidbit. This is a homemade vaporizer. So she's probably just received it in the mail. Never used one before. Probably never used any type of vaporizer before. Oh, no, yeah. It's the first time she's ever used a vaporizer. And first time this one. And it's going to use it in the rain. No gear. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Talks about it. Shout out to whoever made it. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the wood bleach.
Is quicker, but this is just one that I have on hand right now, so we're going to be using this. And then it also comes with some caps that I can.
Yeah, man, I don't know how people do this. Let's scoot ahead here. Got the battery. Let's play a little bit of this.
As you can see, it says 400 watts for peaking power, so it kind of like fluctuated. So it didn't really work. So what I ended up doing, luckily, I am close enough to the house, so I can just plug it in down there, run a very long extension cord up to me, a couple extension cords.
Okay. I didn't know that either. I didn't watch the whole video because I was trying to get ready for this. So yeah, it's plugged into the house. I thought it was plugged into maybe a car battery or something. I don't know what you guys do with this thing, but okay. Let's see. Let me scoot it a little bit ahead here. Don't really care. Okay, let's see.
Drilled in the back. This one particularly I did in the bottom board. But this is so I can stick this end into the hive when I'm gassing it. But also something I thought about that is very convenient. If you drill this hole perfectly in line with the bottom of the hive, then in the wintertime, if you don't have your hive perfectly slanted so that all of the water runs out the front, because what's going to happen is when you have snow that builds up on the bottom board, when that melts, it's going to flow wherever gravity pulls it. So if your hive is kind of slanted so that it's kind of like tipping back, all that water is going to flow to the back of your hive, and you're going to have a pool of water on your bottom board. So that is why I also put this hole in the corner because of the slant of this hive. So that way all of the water ends up running out this hole if any accumulates. All right, now we're supposed to get.
I don't know about that. Yeah. I'm glad you reminded me. It does crack me up sometimes, the vernacular these people use. I watch another live stream occasionally that I'm blocked from where they really talk funny about treating their bees. Like they say, I nuked them. I nuked the shit out of them. I'm gonna gas them again and hit them with this and gas them with that and nuke them with that. It's this weird kind of relationship they have with their bees. It's kind of comical. Like they're just in this kind of weird domestic violence relationship with their bees. They're gassing them. They're beating them over the head with stuff. I don't know. Maybe they get off on it, but so this little hole in the back, that's a drainage hole, it just don't work like that. That little tiny hole get clogged by one hive beetle. There's no way that hole is draining anything. I have my hives leaning at like a 45-degree angle, and they still get blocked with dead bees or just stuff. That little hole ain't doing anything. And I've never seen anyone drill off to the side. I've seen people drill holes in the back. It's usually in the middle. I guess that's so that all these vapors go everywhere. I've never seen anyone drill that far over, but we're just kind of making it up as we go along over here on this one. Let's see.
It's a 450. We're up to 477, which is good. Now all we do is we just tip this upside down. You do this. Put it in the hole. Flip upside down.
I just wanted to see a shot without the gas mask on. I just want to see.
See how the temp is dropping? That's because the OA in the cap is now dropping down. Because I'm using crystals, sometimes it doesn't always all drop down, so that's why I'm making sure it all comes down off the cap. But then you just wait until this comes back up to 450 degrees, and then it's all done.
No.
Okay, that's looking pretty good.
No, that's not exactly how it works. I watch enough treating beekeepers to know that's not how it works. You're supposed to, if I'm right, somebody else can correct me, but you're supposed to do a test run. You do a test run and you time how long it takes for all the vapors, all the crystals to vaporize. And then you know it's done. I don't know if the temperature is the exact correct way to know that it's done. Maybe it is. But then she just found a shortcut that these other people who have been doing it for 10 years don't know. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Okay, so here, maybe we'll see a little bit of vapors fly up.
Take this cap off. Okay, it is really coming down right now. And a bee just stung me in the leg. But, okay, on to the next. Oh.
Yeah, hold on.
Forgot to mention, make sure you do plug up the entrances of your hive so that the gases are trapped inside the hive and cannot escape. And then once you pull out the vaporizer, you're supposed to leave the hive completely closed for at least 5 minutes, I believe is what it is. I usually vaporize when I'm done with all of my beekeeping for the day, so I don't plan to open these hives back up, but I will remove all of the paper.
All right, so let me get rid of this. Oh man, I don't know if that's like a mistake that's normal to make. Like if you say that you're supposed to leave it closed for a certain amount of time, you know what that time is, and you just say it. You don't just say 5 minutes and then throw in a 10 to 15 minute thing. That it shows to me that the person didn't know what they were saying. Yeah, and it's clear there's clearly no protective gear on. It's a terrible example for people watching that might get the idea to do it that way. Thank goodness I'm never going to do that. Yeah, sorry I made you guys watch it. What else was it about that video? Yeah, I knew from the comments that something wasn't right. Stupid hat. The funny thing is, people are hesitant to say too much. They weren't hesitant in that comment section. They were telling her, but they were being real nice about it. They're not nice about it on most channels. Imagine if Tim from Ridge Life did a video where he just like was vaporizing a ton of bees with no gear on, showed his face and everything, and just wasn't as giggly about it. They would absolutely make mincemeat out of him in the comment section. Maybe that's a good idea. That's engagement right there. But okay, cool. So we watched 3 videos, well over the hour mark. I can wrap it up unless anyone has any last minute stuff to talk about or who wants to jump on. Maybe there's somebody in here who I watched one of their videos and they want to come on and say something. Let's see. No? All right. Well, in that case, for everybody here, thanks for coming and hanging out with me and watching some videos. Leave me comments. Let me know if there's any other videos you see. You could email them to me. My email is in my about section. If you see something that's just really off, or you see someone with really bad attitude like me, you can just send me the details, send me the link. I'll watch it. There's no shortage of just bad beekeeping videos out there. Not to say that the second video we watched today was bad. It was just an example of the kind of doublespeak we have to hear and just brush off. But I don't brush anything off over here. All right, that's it. Have a good night, everybody.